Hi, I forgot to record our meeting, so I'm going to do a short video here going over the things that we went over in the meeting. You can see on the board here are two diagrammed sentences. Yes, you will be doing diagrams on your exam. You will need to do a diagram on a piece of paper, take a picture, and upload it to the exam. It should be self-explanatory with the prompts, but if it's not, you can send me a message. Yes, during the exam, you can send me a message. That's how you can ask me questions. So you can see here on this one, especially, this is your baseline. Every sentence diagram is going to have a baseline. And every sentence diagram is going to have this long line that goes through and makes a kind of a plus sign. Here's another one. It separates the subject side from the predicate side. And anything underneath the baseline is what modifies the word above it. Okay? So in this sentence, we have the girl in the back is sleepy. We have a linking verb and a predicate adjective. And so since we have a linking verb, we need to have this backslash kind of line that separates the predicate adjective from the linking verb. Girl is your subject. The girl, the is the article that goes with it, and in the back is a prepositional phrase that modifies girl, telling which girl we're talking about. And you can see that it has the diagonal lines, diagonal line for the preposition, horizontal line for the object of the preposition, and another diagonal line underneath it for the article that goes with back. If you had an adjective, it would be like very sleepy maybe, and if you had a marker that works, it would be great. Yeah, make sure you have a pen or pencil that works and a piece of paper before you start your exam. I'm going to try a different marker. You could also have a linking verb with a predicate noun. And so predicate noun maybe could be friend. The girl in the back is my friend. You still have to have the backslash because this is a linking verb and friend refers back to the subject. It renames the girl. My tells which friend we're talking about. And so it's like that. And I want to, before I go on to the one on the bottom, I want to do one with an action verb, or more than one actually, with an action verb. You can have a very short sentence. You can have he, subject, left. Intransitive verb, nothing else, he left, complete sentence, there you go, that's the diagram. Sorry, the ones on the exam are not going to be quite that easy. He left now is when he left. He left just now, okay? You could also have a direct object. He left his wife, okay? So the wife is the direct object. Wife receives the action of leaving. Poor lady. And his tells which wife we're talking about. His, not somebody else's. But you could have the wife being an indirect object. And so you'll need this kind of thing, kind of like with the prepositional phrases. Wife is the noun, so it goes here. Nothing goes here if you're doing the indirect object. And then his goes under it. He left his wife something. He left his wife $4. Okay, so dollars is what he left. Wife receives the dollars, so she is the indirect object, and dollars is your direct object. Okay. Let's see what else. I don't know what else. So we have intransitive, transitive, direct object, indirect object. All right, compound subject goes like this. It looks kind of complicated, but when you analyze it, it's really not. Vivian and Veronica were elected representatives to the UN. So Vivian and Veronica are the subject. It's a compound subject, so we just use one of these things to join the compound subject. The little dotted line, and inside here goes the conjunction that joins them. Vivian and Veronica were elected. Were elected is your verb phrase. If you have a verb phrase, then it goes together on the baseline. And then your object here, representatives, we have a prepositional phrase that goes with this to the UN. Okay. By the way, if you have the word not, it's an adverb. It does not go with the verb. It goes underneath. We're not elected. Okay. So that's the diagramming part. Again, that's 6 points. The first section of the exam will be on writing sentences with different kinds of verbs and objects and complements. I'm going to go quickly through these. We didn't write them on the board in the meeting, so I'm not going to write them on the board now. You will need to write a sentence with, I'm just going to do different things. Maybe you have to do a simple declarative sentence with an intransitive verb. So, he left. That would work. Again, probably not going to be that easy. Use, in an interrogative sentence, split the verb and have a direct object. Okay? So when you split the verb in a question, which is the same thing as an interrogative sentence, the helping verb goes first, then the subject, then the main verb. So can you come? And then, but then come is not transitive. So can you bring my homework? And so now I have a direct object. If I said with an indirect object, it could be, can you bring me my homework? Okay? With an object complement, you need something kind of like elected or chose or something like that. So we elected Pablo president. Okay, so president would be the object complement that completes the object Pablo. And you can look for more examples of that in your book. Also, you'll need to be able to do with linking verbs, just like I did at the beginning that I raised. The girl in the back is my friend would be a sentence with a predicate nominative. The girl in the back is very sleepy would be a sentence with a predicate adjective. Okay, so inverted order sentence would be, the most common would be probably the ones that start with there or here. So here is your homework. So homework is actually the subject of the sentence, even though it comes at the end. That's why we call it inverted order, because in English, almost all sentences have the subject at the beginning. Then we went into subject-verb agreement. The best way to show subject-verb agreement is with a simple present tense verb. Remember that present tense verbs talk about something that normally happens or regularly happens. Okay, so and remember that in English, in most cases, really in every case except for the verb to be, you have only a different form for third person singular. Of course, almost all nouns that you use are going to be third person singular, like book or lake or person or cat or him or she, okay, or it. All those are third person singular. They take the kind that has the S on the end. And then the kind of verb that has the S on the end. Everything else takes the kind of verb that doesn't have the S on the end. The verb to be, you have to memorize the different forms, because for past and present tense and different persons, it's a little bit different. So you have to know I am. That's what agrees, not I is. You know that though. So it comes into a problem when we have things like prepositional phrases that come between the subject and the verb. So one of the apples is missing. The word is agrees with one. One is the subject. It doesn't agree with apples because apples is not the subject. You could say one of the apples are missing. That would be wrong. because one is the subject. With indefinite pronouns, sometimes we run into problems like with everything. Everything sounds plural, but it's not. Everything is singular. So everything is bad today. Not everything are bad. Okay? Or each one of you in this class, is it is or are? It's is because each is singular. Sometimes when we're talking about quantities of things, we have to remember if it's a non-count noun, it takes a singular form verb. So most of the milk is gone. Okay? So we use the word is because milk is not a count noun. But most of the cups are gone. Yes, we can count cups. And so we have to go to what we're talking about. Are we talking about a group of things? Are we talking about a collective noun? That would be another one. So the herd of cows walks down the road every day. Okay, so herd is a collective noun, which counts as a non-count noun, even though the cows you can count. So check out that section in your book. Let's see what else. I have a list. Oh, reaching down for my list. When you have inverted order, you have to look for the subject of the sentence. So again, here is my homework. Homework in English is a collective noun. It counts as a singular non-count noun. So you need the word is to go with it. And by the way, homework never has an S on the end of it. I keep having to remind people of that. Let's see. I think that's enough for, compound. Remember, compound subjects, if it has the word and joining it, like Lisa and Mary are coming. We use the word are because it's plural. Lisa and Mary, two people. But if I said either Lisa or Mary, now you're going to choose between one and the other, and it has to agree with the closest one. So both of those nouns are singular, so we need a singular verb. But what about, let's see, neither my parents nor my brother, should it be have any money or has any money? It should be has any money. Neither my parents nor my brother has any money because the verb has to agree with the closest subject in this case because it's not joined by and, it's joined by nor. Okay, again, check out your book on that. And then finally, I want to talk a little bit about effective sentences. You will have one set of sentences to combine into one sentence. So it'll be like 3 sentences or 4 sentences, I don't remember, and you combine it into one sentence. The goal is to not make a compound sentence, but to make as short a sentence as possible and still say the same thing. Okay? So, there's some examples in your book, and on your work. I tried to correct what you did. I spend a lot of time editing those documents that you turn in and correcting them. I don't know whether you ever look at them, but that should help you to look at that. Also, you need to know parallel construction. Basically means you have the same structure again and again. So I want to sing, to dance, and to laugh. 3 infinitive phrases in a row. He came, he saw, he conquered. You have 2-word sentence and a 2-word sentence and a 2-word sentence. Okay? And that's parallel because it has the same structure repeated. Another thing is a sentence with an interrupter for emphasis. So I want that dog, the one wagging its tail, at my house. So the one wagging its tail is an interrupter. You have to have commas around it. Or maybe you could put dashes around it if you want to be super dramatic. But that's an interrupter. So think about how you might write a sentence with an interrupter in it. Again, in the work, I did some corrections. There are some examples in your book, so check that out. I'm going to have a meet tomorrow, but it's just going to be for asking questions. So look over all of this stuff, please, before tomorrow, and just be ready to ask a question. If you don't have any questions, if you think you're going to ace this exam, then you don't have to come. It's not mandatory. But you might want to come and listen in just in case someone asks a question that you don't know the answer to or you didn't think of. Everything except the diagrams on the exam are going to be writing a sentence. So you have to write a sentence to illustrate this. You have to write a sentence to show agreement with that. You have to write a sentence combining these other sentences. So everything is going to be writing sentences. I believe that's it. So have a nice day.